Oh, wait, now I'm live. Well, I just said like 2 seconds ago that live streaming wasn't available. So, hey guys, if you've noticed, I am now super live based on the fact that we've been on like 20 seconds and I've already made a mistake. But I wanted to say hello. My name is Nathan. I'm the pastor here at Genesis Boyne. And today we have a really cool special time that we're going to have. But before we get there, I'm going to put this announcement at the beginning and at the end, because some of you guys show up late and some of you guys leave early, and this is really important to know, so we're going to cover it on both sides. And our big announcement is that we are reopening next week, which you guys already know, but what we now know is where we're going to be reopening. So next week, July 12th at 11 a.m., we are going to be meeting at Old City Park. Is it City Park or Old City Park?
I don't know.
It's the one with the gazebo.
Yeah, the one with the gazebo. It's Old City, right?
Hippie Park.
Okay, apparently Hippie Park is also a consensus answer for that. We are going to be meeting there. And if you want to know more about that, go to our website, genesisboyne.com. It's got 3 pages worth of all the details of who, what, where, when, why, how, things you might need to bring, ways that we're going to work on our social distancing, and all of the different pieces of what is going to be entailed. And so just so excited to be able to see everybody next week. So invite a friend, invite a family member, invite a neighbor, come down, and we're going to be at Old City Park on July 12th, then July 19th, and then the week after that, which should be about the 26th, we're going to be at Veterans Park. And so we've gotten permission from the city to use it for 3 weeks, and then we'll just kind of move from there based on the situation and what the city allows. So yeah, super excited about that. But, and we'll put that again at the end for those of you who might not have necessarily been paying as much of attention as you should have. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And today I have a special guest, which means I need to move over a chair because we have these 2 people.
Hello.
I was going to introduce them, but then I was like, my first question is, who are you guys and why are you in my house? So who are you guys and why are you in my house?
So, Mark and Heidi, and there's Blaze and Emily who are playing back there, and we are part of Genesis Boyne Church. We lived here in Boyne City for 4 years, and last summer we moved over to live on a hospital ship, or more precisely a surgery ship, and went to work on the west coast of Africa, precisely in Senegal.
Okay, so what exactly, you're working on something and it's called
Mercy Ship.
Mercy Ships, yes. So you're working on Mercy Ships. What exactly is Mercy Ships? What does it do? What have you guys been doing? I mean, you've been over there for, a year basically. What have you been doing over the past year?
Well, Mercy Ships provide surgeries to people in some of the least reached areas of the world, specifically along the coast of Africa. We specialize in a few types of surgeries that we are able to perform very well and with a great deal of accuracy. And we serve children, we serve men and women, and specifically Mark has been working in the comms department. He's the director of communications, which means he works with gathering stories of our patients and the work that we're doing.
So Mark is not performing surgery on anybody.
No.
Okay.
Thankfully, no.
Yes,
No.
good. We're trying to save lives, correct?
That's right.
All right, fair enough.
And I've been taking care of the kids, and also I took pictures down in the hospital a couple days a week, and I got to be out in the outpatient tent doing follow-up care for our patients after they left the hospital.
And so you're just on a giant ship.
Yeah.
That's right.
That has hundreds of people?
It has about 420 people living on the ship most of the time. And then we have about 40 to 60 patients most of the time, sometimes a bit more. And we have, in every country that we go, so here in Senegal, we had about 250 Senegalese people who came to work with us to do translation, to help with all sorts of different tasks, from cooking to cleaning and loads of other areas where we need help.
Yeah.
So and medical photography.
And it's one of those things that people find out about this, say in Senegal, they have medical issues and they're just able to come and get it for free?
Yes, we provide, Mercy Ships provides surgery, any care that they need before surgery, all the care they need after surgery, plus we provide accommodation and food. Although it's not without some cost, the patients they can be with us sometimes for weeks or even months. So they're away from their family, they're away.
So it's not just like, I mean, here it seems like everything is in and out in a day. Like, oh, I had a baby. Oh, I had my heart taken out. And it's like 2 days.
Right.
And so it takes a little bit longer there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
some do, some don't. I mean, for the eye surgery, when they have cataract removals, that is in and out. They don't. Some of the adults don't even stay in our hospital. They just come back a few days later to have their eyes checked, and they're done. Some of them, kids between 4 and 14 who get orthopedic surgery, they're with us for 2 to 3 months because they have not only major surgery on their legs, but they also have a lot of rehabilitation of our physiotherapists after that. And what's wonderful about the fact that they can be with us that long is that we don't just try and provide them with medical care and surgery, but we try and provide them with an environment that gives and shows the love of Jesus.
Well, and that's, I mean, obviously you guys being missionaries, and we're talking Acts 1:8. I know for our church, we haven't had the opportunity yet. We've really been working on our Jerusalem and caring for people in this town and planning towards getting to Judea and Samaria and the ends of the earth. And you guys are really hitting ends of the earth with having this opportunity to share and show the love of God to people. What type of effect is that having on people? I mean, just to be like, hey, I need this thing. There's no way that I could ever get that on my own. And to see somebody come in, like, obviously you're doing a lot of communication, so you're kind of seeing and hearing the stories. Like, what types of things are you really seeing as manifestations of that?
Well, there's a surgeon on board who's been serving with Mercy Ships for 32 years. He's called Dr. Gary Parker, and he talks about hope needing to be tangible. And so the medical care, the surgeries that we can offer to people who are in a place where they have no hope, they cannot afford the possible surgeries that might be in their country. And in a lot of situations, the surgeries they need aren't even in place in their country or are not safe. And so just being able to tell them you can get the surgery that will change your life or your daughter's life or your son's life is impacting to them, but then it impacts their community. So that's one aspect. But then the other aspect is as we've just said in the previous question, the fact that they can stay with us and we are able to show them the love of God through the care, through the nursing staff, and how they interact with the Senegalese staff and how they take care of the patients and how we provide all the things that they need while they're there. And we don't just care for the fact that the surgery is going well, we care for them as a whole person. We have chaplaincy in the hospital, and they go and spend every day, they go around to see every patient. They sing, as my mother-in-law would say, the best songs in the world. So basically worship songs, and they share the love of Jesus in not just tangible physical ways, but also through their testimony and the word of God.
And you guys have been obviously in Senegal. Is Senegal the place where Mercy Ships exists? How does it work on a basis? How long are you guys there for? Kind of give us a little bit of an idea on time frames.
Each field service is about 10 months long. We arrive in country in August and leave in the following June. There's a lot to set up. Once we get there, we have to unpack. When the ship is sailing, everything's packed away, so we're not having parts flying everywhere. So we have to unpack and set up, which takes a good few weeks. Then we have the surgeries are on rotation. We'll provide general surgery, one for a few weeks, then maxillofacial surgery, then orthopedics, and so on throughout the year. And then we pack up in June and then head back to shipyard for 2 months. So every ship needs a lot of work every single year to keep it up and running, especially when there's a hospital on board. So we spend 10 months in country and then 2 months taking care of the ship.
So you just live for a year on a ship with 400 people.
Yeah.
What is that like? Can you give us because most of us, if we've been on a cruise, I personally have not, they're like, oh sweet, cruise is awesome. You get on your 7 days, you get like a big buffet, and you go see a couple of cool places and swim with the dolphins or something, and then that's it. Like,
It's not really a cruise so much. Well, it's kind of like living in a small village and a hotel at the same time, where each family has its own cabin. We have a little kitchen area. We have our bedrooms and our living area. Singles share cabins with up to 9 other people.
oh wow.
But they're usually, those are the people who are here mostly, for the most part, short term, for only a few weeks. So sharing with a bunch of other people isn't that big of a deal. Actually, it's kind of nice. But we have there's a shop on board. We have a cafe where we get Starbucks coffee.
Oh.
I know. And there's a dining area where we have 3 meals a day provided. There's school on board, pre-K through 12. There's a playground. There's even a shipping container that's been converted to a swimming pool. So there's kind of, and then the hospital, and then of course the hospital, a couple decks down. We have a bank. It's kind of like a whole little village right there.
So for different people, it's a different experience. For the kids, they wake up in the morning, we have breakfast together in our cabin, they go to school. Blaze was in preschool, so he went in the morning. Heidi was able to work during that time, and then Amelie would go to school. They'd come back for lunch, we'd have lunch in the cabin, and then Amelie would go back to school for another few hours with Blaze and spend time with Heidi and some of the other little kids of his age. They love that environment. Amelie would be able to pick up the phone. That we have a phone system between all the cabins and she'd phone her little friend and say, can Rana come over, or can Abby come over, or can I come to Abby? And they'd go and play with their friends. So it's a wonderful little village for them. It's a wonderful Christian,
It's a safe,
loving and safe environment. They have to be supervised in the sense that you have to know where they are, and they have to be
a lot of safety on the ship.
But so that's their life kind of thing. They love that environment. For me, I get up, I have breakfast with them, I go to work, I have a team, I have to make sure they all know what they're doing, every week. I'm part of the leadership of the ship, so we meet also multiple times in the week to make sure that everything's going well, tackle different issues. I would go to the Ministry of Health because they were our leading partners in country every week, and I have a lot of meetings. It's a work life. It's not necessarily the sort of dream missionary life in the wherever in the bush, but it's work. It's what enables the rest of it to happen. And for Heidi, her experience is being able to go into the outpatient wards or in the hospital and serve for a few hours every morning. So I have patient stories that I can tell from my team capturing sort of their journey, but not having had that much personal interaction with them. Heidi has had personal interaction with a number of patients and a number of Senegalese staff as well.
And that's one of the things that we will put up on Facebook this week. Mark gave me links to a couple of different stories just to give you a better idea, to give you some visuals. Because we're live, we can't splice in video in the same way as if we were pre-recording. But it also gives you guys the opportunity to ask a question. So if you have a question, feel free to throw it on the live chat. But yeah,
I just got a question.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, man, they were on it.
Right? So
It's like ask and you shall receive.
I'll just read loudly so the mic picks me up. So it says, did they serve Senegalese food on the ship? Did your kids have to learn to eat new foods, or were there lots of choices so they could find something they liked?
Well, there wasn't so much Senegalese food served in the cafeteria. The menu is set from our organizational headquarters based on most of our food is actually shipped from the US or from the Netherlands to get to the ship. Senegal had pretty good resources available.
So it's shipped to the ship?
Yes, it's shipped to the ship.
Fair enough.
A lot of Senegal was unique in that it was a lot better resource, but a lot of the countries we go to, finding food for that many people for that amount of time would have been really difficult. So we have a container system, and our food is shipped to us. So a lot of it is more Western food. Down in the hospital, they serve more Senegalese food because we're not going to ask all of our patients to suddenly enjoy pizza and French fries. It would be just a bit of a shock to the system. So, but we did take the kids out to try Senegalese food. We took a little family holiday to a bush village where we were hosted by a couple families, and we all ate out of the big bowl, the rice and fish and vegetables all together, where you eat with your hands. And the kids tried it; they enjoyed it. It was a bit spicy, but they liked it anyhow. So we're trying to give the kids cultural experiences as well as just. We didn't want to be America on a ship.
And the reason we ship everything, and we don't actually ship everything, in Senegal we got a lot of fresh food locally, but in some of the countries we go to, there isn't the ability, that there aren't the resources there to buy that much food, and they can't produce that much fresh stuff. But they were in Senegal. We were blessed. The president actually blessed us with gifts of beef, because he is from the Fulani tribe, which is one of the tribes of the people of Senegal who are herders. And so the greatest expression of their thankfulness is to be able to share a cow with them. So he provided some lovely beef.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and kind of building off of what you had just said, you guys aren't confined to the ship. Like, you can get out and say, go to the market or do something as such. So you've had the opportunity to get out and get into Senegal.
Yeah.
Which has been, if you guys have been seeing, they have, and I'll just go ahead and plug it right now, a Facebook page called
The Ruined Family.
The Ruined Family.
The Ruined Family.
Thank you. So you guys.
There'll be a link to it after.
Yeah, we'll throw a link on there too. So it gives some really cool experiences of what's been going on a monthly basis, and it just gives you the opportunity to get more in depth and see what missions looks like in a more tangible way. It's usually got some good pictures and just kind of stories about what's been going on in their lives. One question that I just wanted to ask is, why? Like, out of anything in the world, you've got some medical background, you've got a lot of different areas of background, you've lived multiple places all throughout the world. Like, why this?
Well, both Mark and I have a deep desire to serve overseas. We've both spent time in Asia and in Africa. And while we've just been waiting for God to give us an opportunity to go, we spent several years here being part of this amazing community, meeting people, being involved in the church, kind of building a good foundation. And then there's a kind of a restlessness building as well, that it was we should go and be somewhere else. The kids were the right age, and we were looking at some different opportunities. And I'd heard we both had been aware of mercy ships for a very long time, and we looked into it, and suddenly it just seemed the right thing to do. There was a good opportunity for Mark. There's medical opportunities for me, and it seemed kind of a good all-in-one package where we didn't have to sort out where we're going to live overseas, where the kid's going to go to school, where we're going to get our supplies. Everything's on the ship. So to that end, it is it's one of the easier transitions into missions, where you're living on a ship and not in a house, but there's also a lot of things that are right there kind of provided for you.
And a kind of overall picture is, we basically had a yearning in our hearts that God has built up through the years. That's why we got married together, so we could serve wherever He would want us to serve. And our family felt that it was a good time, and so we sought God and we prayed and we explored different avenues, and this is the one that He opened up and made the way for us to be able to serve. So it's above all out of obedience that we are there.
And I think that's one of those things of so many people we talk to, and they're like, I've got this. I feel like God's kind of tugging me to this place, but it's scary, or I feel God kind of calling me here, or even just kind of getting this little idea in my mind that keeps getting planted there, but I don't feel qualified, or I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. And I just appreciate, we were talking a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and it's like you guys start feeling it and you go for it, you embrace it. And I would just encourage anybody out there who's watching this, as God calls you, and sometimes it's a big, blatant call, and sometimes it's a very subtle piece that it's like, God's calling me to, during this time where we've been in isolation, to invite 3 or 4 people over and have a Bible study. Man, go for it. Like if God calls you to a ministry, if God calls you to do a Bible study, if God calls you to go for it, go for it, go for it.
And it is scary, and it is big, and there are so many things you don't know.
Because you guys basically sold everything.
Yeah, we did. But the fact is, he's promising to be there with us, and he's not promising it will be easy. And it's been tough in different instances, different times. It's been a huge learning curve to be on the ship, to be part of the leadership, to live in that kind of environment. It's a wonderful environment. It's a wonderful work. But it's also not easy, but he's there.
One of the fairly simple story of that was Amelie going into first grade. She had her little friends here, especially her cousin that she was very attached to, and I was concerned that about her making friends on the ship. We didn't know who else was going to be there, and it turns out in her first grade class there are 3 boys and 3 girls, and the 2 other girls the 3 of them were like little peas in a pod, and she had instant little friends there, and God took care of that. Was one of my big concerns as a mom, was who are the kids going to play with, and they had some of the best little friends on the ship, and God really answered that concern for me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that when you follow God, it's not always going to be easy, but it's going to be way better than doing the opposite and being like, I'm cool here. I got a nice house, got some cool friends. That's just a personal insight from my life. It's easier when God calls you to do something to go for it than to be like, actually, I got a better plan. Check this out. Got a couple more. I know we're.
I got another question.
Oh, another question.
Yes, this one's from Janine. The last one was from Katrina. Thank you guys for asking questions. So Janine asked, can you share one of your challenges?
One of my challenges. I think it was very challenging to just switch lifestyles completely, to go from a place where it's very, very normal. We lived exactly like everybody else, and to uproot the kids and to kind of settle in where you're going to a place where everyone has kind of a common purpose, which is nice, but you still have personalities to deal with. And how are you going to get along with your new, trying to figure out how everything here on the ship works, plus your job, plus getting the kids settled. It was very challenging. It was also very difficult to see all the poverty around and know that we're doing something, but there's still so much more that needs to be done. And, just walking down the street, someone said, oh, you're from the ship, and can you help me? I've got these medical problems, and saying, we actually don't do that. You can do these, and you can go to this clinic here in town, but we can't help you. So there are constant challenges that come up there, just like there are constant challenges that come up in life here. Some of them are slightly different, but
Yeah. You got one?
The main one that comes to my mind is just the work. I mean, it was hugely challenging to go and learn So if I was just leading a small team like I have done before, and I've worked mainly in small organizations, be okay. But it's a huge organization. And say, it's a ship. It has its own regulation being a part of a ship. It has its own way of working, being a hospital ship, a surgery ship, and then an organization that has loads of logistics. So it was a big learning curve. And I had the extra challenges that in the first month, I lost 2 of my team members for different reasons. They had to return home. And I had half a team to try and do the work that I needed to do. And it was very challenging because I was trying to help recruit more people, trying to get my head around all the things that we needed to do, trying to support my team, and as well as helping and adjusting myself, helping my family to adjust to this new community and environment. So that was a transition environment and transition challenge. That was really major for me.
I have another question over here.
All right, we're on a roll now.
I know, this one's from Katie Ivy, and she asked, is COVID impacting the ministries of mercy ships?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Good job, Katie.
So the simple answer is yes.
And I think I'll go ahead and add to Katie's question. What's next for you guys? So that'll kind of combine those two together.
So the simple answer is yes. We said there's 450 people living on the ship. What it actually is like is there's about 220 people who are there for the whole time that we're in Senegal. The other 230 are volunteers who come. Most surgeons come for 2 weeks. A lot of nurses come from 3 to 6 weeks, and people who come and serve in the kitchens and cleaning and all sorts of other areas come from 2 weeks to 6 months. And so we have a lot of people traveling internationally to come and help make this happen. So the first thing that happened for us is the fact that with international travel just being restricted and closing down in a lot of different areas, we realized that we could not continue our operation. So we, as an organization, made a call in mid-March, that we were going to stop all volunteers coming. So we wouldn't put them at risk. We wouldn't put people at risk of bringing the virus to Senegal or to the ship. And from there on, we basically had to close our operation down in Senegal. So we treated all the patients that we still had on the ship. We had to communicate with all the patients that we couldn't provide the surgery for, that we were lined up to be able to receive surgery over the next few months. And then we were able, in communication with the Ministry of Health, to finish off and to go to the Canary Islands where we normally do maintenance.
A little interjection. I knew some of the nurses who had to make the calls to the patients to tell them that they weren't going to be receiving the surgery they've been waiting for. And they afterwards, they were nearly in tears because they said they expected people to be devastated. And they were disappointed, of course, but they said what they were not prepared for how supportive the patients were. Our day crew, the Senegalese staff that we had working with us, the patients who couldn't have their surgeries, everyone was so supportive of our decision that in order to make keep Senegal safe, we were choosing to leave. And it was mind-boggling that they were able to be that understanding and very supportive of our mission. So we left with that feeling instead of leaving with the feeling that we were disappointing people. So that was a blessing. Yeah.
And part of that, the reason for that is to recognize the Senegalese government did a really good job of recognizing the problem that was happening around the world and then communicate that to their population. And so people knew and were aware. It wasn't like they hadn't heard of it ever and suddenly this was happening. They had already been building up the communication. So there's a great recognition of what the Senegalese government and the health ministry in particular had done so far and have been doing since, really working hard in Senegal. So what that means now is the ship is in the Canary Islands, and we're trying to do maintenance on it.
So
that we
you're
normally
going on
do.
a cruise to the Canary Islands.
So we left just before.
Something like
We
that.
actually left.
Something on the cruise.
Part of the reason that we are here is we actually left at the end of March because we were trying to reduce the numbers on the ship so that we'd have a small community to limit the risk to anybody there. And so a small community left with the ship, went to the Canary Islands, and now it's docked there, and they're trying to do maintenance, the normal maintenance that we do every year. But obviously the logistics of that is a little different at this time due to COVID again. And about a couple of weeks ago, our international leadership decided that basically with the forecast of how things are going in Africa and international travel, we would not be able to return to Senegal to finish our work there until early next year. So everything's been pushed back, and the plan now is that next January, the whole staff return to the ship and we return to Senegal, and we do the operations that we weren't able to finish. And we also had a few other waiting list patients that we were hoping to be able to serve, that we will do that. So right now we've spent a few months in England where we were with my sister after we left the ship, and we were in lockdown there. And then this summer we have been able to come over here a couple of weeks ago, and we are just about to go down to Texas to the headquarters of Mercy Ships to work over the summer, so I can do some projects, finish some work, and then we have a few months where it's unclear exactly what we're going to be doing from September, but we're trying to gear ourselves to return to the ship and make it a very productive time, both for the organization, for our family, and also just be very open to what God wants us to be doing during this time.
And we're getting close to wrapping up, so if you have any other questions, make sure that you toss those in. One question that I feel is extremely important to ask. Have you guys done the scene from Titanic?
No. Yeah, we're not allowed.
The
We're not
bow is
allowed up in the
closed.
bow. It's a working area on the ship. We get to go up usually once during each sail. We're allowed up to do. We have worship on the bow, and that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. But there's still right up in the very front part. Yeah, there's also a rule about 2 feet on deck all the time, so they would discourage.
All right, well, dream is dead.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I know. We did get to see dolphins kind of playing in the bow wake, though, so that was kind of nice.
And final question for you guys is, how can we, people who are watching, we help, and how have we been helping?
Those Christmas cards, oh my word, were absolutely amazing. To get the package, we get our mail through crew mail. That's we have packages sent over, and also bigger things come in the container. But they said I had a piece of mail in crew mail. I went down and kind of poking it and shaking it and trying to figure out what's going on in here. And we opened it up, and we were absolutely gobsmacked to have all those cards signed by our church, our friends, our family here, and that was huge for our family to receive that love package from all of you. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and I mean, your prayer support, financial support that you guys have provided us as a church has been invaluable, and all the small messages, the phone calls, we love those. We love to hear what you guys are up to, what's happening in your lives, just as much as we want to share with you what's happening with us.
Messages on our Facebook page, just knowing that someone's reading what we're sending out, and just knowing that you're back here and interested and haven't forgotten us is really huge.
So the first time Mark called me, the number came up as just like a bajillion numbers, and then and it said just Africa, and I was like, I am not answering that because I know it's an Ethiopian prince who's going to be offering me $1 million and they're going to steal all my information. And so he kept calling me and I was just like, what is wrong with this person? And finally he left me a message. I'm like, why will you not answer my call? It's like, well, I thought it was an Ethiopian prince. Anyway, and for those of you who would like to be able to continue to pray for them, again, they've got that Facebook account. For those of you who would like to support them financially, in the description, we have a link to their Mercy Ships account, and it's just a super easy button there that you'll see. It's very obvious where you can click, you can give recurring, you could give a one-time, but continuing to support them. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for coming on today and giving us the opportunity, and clearly feel free to share this with a friend if somebody else is interested. I mean, has a medical background or even just a lot of different backgrounds. Again, Mark is not performing surgery. So if you know somebody who has a desire for this, please let us know. We'd love to put you in connection. They're looking for both, I mean, as little as a week or so, and as long as apparently 30 years. So somewhere in between those two ranges is about your opportunity that you would have the ability to do. So any last words that you guys want to toss in before we wrap up?
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity for us to come and share what we've been doing. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you for your support. And we've been talking about a whole load of different things, but I think one of the things that I was reflecting on the last few weeks is what has God actually been doing? Well, we've had people come to the ship who have received sight. We have people who have been able to walk again, or just walk for the first time. We have people who've been suffering, not just physically, but because of their physical problems, they have been marginalized in their community, who have been able to be loved, to be embraced. And that's the power of the gospel of Christ that has been at work on the ship. And to be honest, when I was there and working and with all the challenges that I explained, I kind of lost sight of that for a while. And so it's been good to be here and to just be able to reflect on that. So thank you for investing in us as a family and investing in the work and supporting us both in prayer, financially, and through your friendship.
And so we're going to go ahead and wrap up with prayer. Well, actually, and then I'll do some announcements. So don't go away. Jenny, could you go get Blaze and Ami for me?
Yeah. Hey, Blaze and Ami.
Because I'm sure everybody wants to see what they look like. They're about 25 and 26 now, something like that.
No,
but Blaze has stubble.
Come here. Come on.
There's nothing they love more than.
Come here. I'm right over here. Here we go. Come say hi.
So that's the family.
There's Blazy in his Senegalese soccer outfit, and then there's Amelie in her. Mummy made her the dress with this Senegalese cloth that was purchased in a market in Dakar.
Very nice. And it's good to see you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
All right, let's pray. God, thank you so much for the opportunity to have Mark and Heidi and the family here and hear how you are blessing throughout this world, from Jerusalem to Judea to Samaria to the ends of the earth. And I'm just so thankful for the hearts that they have to sell everything, to sell their house, to sell their cars, to sell all their clothes, to raise the money and just go and care for people, just like you cared for people. When Jesus came down, he's healing people and he's preaching the word. And just like they were saying, the opportunity to help give sight to the blind, help make lame people walk. And so I just thank you for the opportunities that they are having to share your name and show your love. I pray for patience. I pray for endurance through those hard times. I pray for our church family to continue to support them financially and through prayer and through encouragement in those tough days. I pray for Mercy Ships as a whole and what they are going to be doing as they try to figure out what does a world with COVID and how can they continue to minister? How can they continue to put together an organization that is a caring organization and wants to go out and help, but they also want to be safe and be able to protect both the countries that they're going to, but also the crew members. And so I just pray for the wisdom in their leadership to be able to know the right decision and know how you are calling them. I pray for peace and I pray for unity amongst their family as they continue to serve and follow you. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And again, thank you guys for being here. And you guys can just sit here awkwardly while I make my announcements. Or, I mean, you can walk away if you want to, but either one. So, real quick announcement. We made this at the beginning. We're going to make it again at the end for those of you who tuned in a little bit late. Next week is our reopening. So, we are going to be reopening at Old City Park. And that's going to be June 12th, 11 a.m. You can go to our website, genesisboyne.com, and it will give you information, a 3-page document on every single thing that you potentially could ever want to know about reopening: how, who, what, where, when, why, how. And then the next week, which will be the 19th, we will be at Veterans Park, and we'll be there for the next 2 weeks. But the city has given us approval to meet at the city parks for 3 weeks. And then obviously as things develop, we'll know more from there. But it's a huge blessing. We are so thankful to the city for that. And we pray that you guys will invite people, that you will come, that you will take the opportunity to really engage, because it's an outdoor environment, open air. We're going to have the opportunity for social distancing. We'll also have the opportunity for fellowship. And so we just want you guys to come and enjoy a time of worship together for the first time in, March, April, May, June, July, 4 months. So yeah, just so excited for that. And just if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. But the other thing is, again, watch Facebook this week. We'll have a video on Mercy Ships. We also will have a link for Mark and Heidi. And then in the description below, there is the opportunity for their page if you would like to support them financially. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we will see you in person next week. Whoa.